What's going on? What's going on? Welcome back to the channel One Man's Walk. I am your host Gamal, back at you with another one. And so what we have for you today is a Squid Games review. So I finally have watched it. Friends have been telling me about it. I've avoided spoilers. I avoided all of my favorite YouTubers who do recaps on these type of things and just stayed away from everything so I can kind of go into it fresh with whatever my thoughts were going to be. I had no idea what it was about. Just knew that it was this rave, and I said, all right, let me at least check it out and see what's going on. So my wife and I sat down, we watched all 9 episodes. And so here are my thoughts. I personally did not love it. I know that I guess I got to go back and see what other people thought about it. I thought it was depressing watching it, honestly speaking. So just seeing the lives of these individuals, seeing the condition that they were in, the desperation they found themselves in, it was really saddening. The lead character, the main guy, knowing that his mom was diabetic, and not just diabetic, but had been carrying around a disease untreated for so long. And I'm diabetic, and so, like, I constantly am checking my readings and constantly trying to work out and make sure I'm eating the right things to avoid situations like passing out with low sugar, high sugar, things like getting to the point where it goes so untreated that they have to amputate a body part. Like, I don't want to have to get to that point, and so I try to do what I need to do. And again, this is the sensor, this is the Freestyle Libre, and it's not a Freestyle Libre video, but I use it with the iPhone. I just put it up to the sensor and boom, it gives me my readings. And so seeing that the guy was so in his own world with his own issues with the gambling and things like that, to not even recognize what was going on with his mom. Now, this is a grown man who was not living with his mom or his mom living with him. He was mooching off of his mom. And I'm not here to knock anybody who is still living at home with their parents. I lived with my parents until my wife and I got married when I turned 25, 26, or whatever the case was. So it happens, right? Like, and I get that. But just seeing the condition he was in, what was going on with his daughter and him not being in her life, and then having to beg his ex for money, and then her husband, it was just a sad thing to see. Seeing the state of the young girl. I'm sorry, I'm not really good with the names, but the female character who was the female star, not the older lady who was pretty annoying. She was extremely annoying, not pretty, extremely annoying. But the young one who had a brother in the orphanage, her story was sad too. And the moment, I guess I'm so used to watching movies and TV shows, the moment that in the first episode where he ran, where the lead character was running after he won the horse betting thing, and he bumped into her, and when it gave the focal point of her face, I was like, okay, she has to have some significance. She'll pop up again. Like, they don't spend time with characters who are meaningless for us to get that type of look at their face for them not to be in it. So I knew I knew she was going to play a role, and I did love her. She was dope. She was probably one of the best things about the season. The friend that he kept talking about at the beginning, that was the pride and joy of the town in which he came from, I knew he was setting up the Middle Eastern, the Indian guy, Pakistani, I'm not quite sure, Middle Eastern gentleman who was really nice. Knew he was setting him up. He was doing crud the whole way around. Even before that, he was doing the crud when he figured out, you know what, you probably don't need, when they had the cookie game, and he didn't even warn the guys, like, look guys, we should probably all choose this. And he chose the easiest one. He was on crud for a while, and so I didn't rock with them, but I knew it was going to come down to the guy needing to kill him to get out of there, the lead character. And even with that, the guy was such a good guy at the end. I also called it with my wife, and I was like, nobody in here is as old as this old guy. I'm like, this guy has to be in on it. Like, he has to be on it. Now, I wasn't sure if he was going to be the main guy, but I figured he was more involved in what was going on than Misai. And then the moment when, in that same episode, we saw the Pakistani guy die and we saw a whole bunch of other people get killed, the fact that when it came time to show the shooting, how conveniently we see our main character leave out the door and the shift to where you just hear the shot, and when it goes back around in the camera angle, it shows just the guy with the red hood or whatever, and we can't see anything else. And I was like, yeah, this guy's not dead. He's not dead. I was happy to see that the annoying girl and the fake gangster both go, because he was a sucker of all levels, man. I couldn't handle him. I was like, man, this guy has to go. But I was thinking she gotta go too, to be honest with you. She was wild as well. It was to see what they were willing to do for money. And again, thankfully, I'm not in a situation where that has to be a reality to that level of what they were willing to do. It was just that I didn't get the fixation with it. The fact that we have, again, it seems like in these movies where we have a set race who is killing each other for the pleasure of another race, right? Like, I don't want to get into that too tough, but there seems to be this thing where you're essentially just like, man, I don't want to say selling out your own, but you're willing to put your own on display for the affection of what it feels like somebody else who probably doesn't even like you anyway. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was a lot of things with that I was like, With the moment the VIP episode came in and I looked and I was like, oh, okay. These are the VIPs, huh? All right. Just here to watch these guys and girls kill one another for sport, for fun, for enjoyment. And I'm just like, man, it's been seeing it since, what's that Ice-T movie I saw in the movie theater? Surviving the Game, I think it is. I have the DVD upstairs somewhere. I'm not going to get it for the prop for this. But it was, I don't know. I guess I could have got my wife's thoughts, and she's not really on the camera thing, so, I didn't get her. Got a little picture of her behind me and whatnot from her wedding day, but it was more so just sad, just watching it. It was really sad, the lives that these individuals experience. I didn't like the ending for multiple reasons. One, I don't think we got any real closure. I guess that means he's going to try to figure out a way to stop them if there is a season 2 to this. I did recognize that it looks like it just shows you how the game just continues, because there goes another guy who was desperate in the subway station getting slapped up just to win some money. That was sad. Why the guy had to go with the red hair, I don't know. I didn't get that. That seemed a very bit extreme. I didn't know if they was pushing agendas with that, but I didn't get that at all. The time he spent with the old guy, it would have been nice to get a better explanation for it. That was a very on-par explanation. Rich guy who was just bored, had nothing better to do, and then figured, hey, I need to do something with my money. And instead of either giving to charity or going around with all that excess money that he had and actually just investing in people, going around and saying, hey, I'm going to put 30,000, because it seemed like he had enough of that. Let me put 30,000 into each homeless person I see on the street. Let me build up some shelters or some better things, better places to get these guys off and girls off of the street and get them into better situations. Let me help some of these individuals with this debt situation. Instead of doing all of that stuff, decided that the best use of his money was to turn around and create a game in which kid games are now traumatizing individuals with the violence associated with it. And yeah, I was out. I have some friends at work who liked it. I think they liked it. I don't know. They told me they wanted to get my thoughts on it. I didn't get the big twist, because again, I thought the old guy was involved in it. And then that episode where they took the mask off the individual in the suit, the pig or whatever that one was, that mask, that gold mask, the hand was shaking. It was an old hand. And at that moment, again, my wife looked and was like, yeah, I think you're right about the old guy being the guy. I think he's the guy. And so there was no twist there. I figured there was going to be some payoff for the cop and the brother. And when we were watching it, I did not actually figure out the brother was the guy until the very end. And I'm like, why has this guy not killed him yet? Like this black guy, not black guy, the guy in all black, the front man, I think he was called himself, had proven himself to be a ruthless individual. And I'm like, why has this guy killed this guy yet? And then I was like, oh crap, he's the brother. That's why. And I said it maybe a minute or two before, and I'm like, this guy's dragging feet. What's going on here? Why hasn't he killed this guy already? And then he takes the mask off, and it's the brother. And then that sucked. That sucked. You won, and then just continued the cycle. Because I guess based upon what we saw in the files, the brother was one of the first contestants to win, and then turned around and just continued going. And that sucks. So, I mean, all in all, it was sad. It was sad. I didn't walk away from it with, man, I really enjoyed this. This was so thought-provoking. This was so provocative. This was so forward-thinking. This was so suspenseful. I mean, it has some suspenseful moments. More so because, man, some of those deaths, I was like, eeh. It was just sad, man. It was sad. I do want to say the best episode probably was episode 6, where they're in that place, the game where they had the 10 marbles. Because that was, my wife and I were watching, and I was telling her, I was like, babe, I'll be honest with you. I saw that husband and wife, and unfortunately the wife died, the husband was there, and I was like, man, I'm telling you, 10 times out of 10, don't matter, you're getting on my nerves, you're frustrating me, whatever the case, I'm giving my life for yours. And she's like, nah, we gotta split it, and let the Lord decide. And I said, I'm gonna have to take that one. Ain't no point in the kids not having both of us. So that one almost brought a tear to me. The emotion of that episode I thought was really well done. I was really hoping that the girl would have made it. Obviously, the whole story was showing us that it was going to be the guy the whole time, but I really was hoping and pulling for the young lady to make it to the end, especially with the orphanage brother. Definitely, she was my favorite character of the show. But yeah, it was okay. Wasn't great, wasn't bad. I've seen it, probably never watch it again. I guess if there's a part 2, I guess I'll sit down and watch it, but I'm not excited for it. I'm not looking forward to it like I am Stranger Things. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully it wasn't too long. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful, blessed, productive, stress-free day, weekday, weekend, whenever you're watching, listening, however that is. Till next time.